And we're going to talk about unspoken rules about the shore / possible myths surrounding the shore / how to be a good neighbor. So first thing is, what's some unspoken rules? You know, what if I do something that might be okay, quote unquote, in other places where people on the shore are going to look down on me instantly? Or maybe how do I need to talk, that sort of thing.
Well, I would say for the unspoken rules, we're down the shore. We're not at the beach. You're down the shore in this area here. And I think really when you start looking at just in and around the communities, it's always about, making sure like you're picking up your trash. Don't just leave it by the trash cans like on the beaches and stuff like that. If you see a piece of trash, you pick it up. Now, I know that might apply everywhere. But I think it's keeping in mind the environmental impact that it has down here at the shore. It could end up in the water. It ends up in the sand. There's just all sorts of, just environmental impacts that it could have. That begins, if you're not cleaning up after yourself and not cleaning up after others, it's just going to ruin it for everybody. And then there becomes bigger issues there down the road. So I would just, for me, it's always just be careful. Don't bury your cigarette butts in the sands, right? Take it with you and take your trash with you with that. So that's always one that I feel that we can talk more about and should be talked more about. What else? So unwritten rules for down the shore. I don't know. We try to vocalize it pretty well when we're down here to people that are
they can be
that are people that are coming in town. But I will tell a funny one. There's no such thing as the red cup rule or red cup law. So there's a lot of folks that seem to have this thought process that if you have your alcohol in a red cup, that you can walk around with it freely and that nothing can happen to you. That's kind of a myth, if you will. So you can walk around with it, but if you're showing any signs of maybe being intoxicated or what have you, and you give the law an opportunity for probable cause, they can take a sniff and see what you have in that cup, and then that could be a problem for you. So there's no written law that states that you can have your red Solo cup full of alcohol and just walk around freely without any problems. So that was one I recently heard actually in about the last year, and that was a good laugh. Somebody had gotten in trouble and they said, well, what about the red cup law? So no such thing as the red cup law.
Are all of the streets called avenues? Like none of them are called like street. Are they all called avenue? Is that true?
No, it actually intermixes actually. So you do have a lot of, you'll have streets, you will have avenues, and you do, in some locations you do have drives also. Yeah, okay. So it's not all just this, just all avenues or anything like that. Yeah, so it's intermixed.
How do people feel when you bring up the fact that their street is from Monopoly?
Well, in some locations, actually, a lot of them love it, actually. So they'll get these big placards. Like you actually see them a lot in Ocean City. They'll get the big placards and it'll say like their address. It'll be like, say, like 229 Park Place. And they have it, and it looks like the Park Place on the Monopoly board with the rates and all this other stuff. So they have that hanging on their house. So it's kind of a neat thing, and might have the family name in it and everything else like that. But it looks like the actual Monopoly game card. Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a big myth would be like every time you mention Jersey Shore to people, they think of Snooki, right?
Yeah, well, that's because that's the North Jersey area there. And ironically enough, I believe that those people aren't even from New Jersey. I think they're from New York, actually. So, yeah, this Jersey Shore is not that Jersey Shore in any way, shape, or form. But very different areas as well. But I would say like one of the myths, too, that I think is that people that aren't from the area, we tend to hear a lot like they don't feel that we appreciate them. So there becomes this little battle between those that live here and those that don't live here, that either we don't appreciate them, or they feel that we think we don't need them. That we have our own little sleepy town, so they feel like you need us because without us, your communities wouldn't exist. And, these communities existed long before, the shore travel was a, real popular thing that it is today. We're owning shore homes as popular as they are today, especially in like the year round. Right? It's like, obviously years and years ago, these homes weren't year round. They were built for just the summer. So they'd shut down all winter, open back up in the spring to the fall timelines because that's just the way that they were built. So you kind of really had that separation of those who lived here year round and those who we call shoobies that are people that travel down. okay, for either the weekends or the day trippers, and now
See,
they own here.
There's some lingo
Okay.
right there.
So yeah, so the shoe. So where that terminology just came from is that people used to, they'd come down and they'd put their stuff in a shoebox, when they come to the beach. Well, they come to the shore, I should say, actually. So I'm originally from North, so beach is still in my lingo. So there's, I think that there's a little bit more of a myth. I mean, there's obviously, I think we rely on each other. We're here year round taking care of this community and making sure that it is what it is, and obviously welcome those who come down. That's part of, it's what supports the real estate industry, but supports all the local vendors, all the stores and everything in the summer months. And we know that that's important. At the same time, respect it when you come here. There's no sense of entitlement just because you come here that you're on vacation, and therefore you don't have to care about it because the next person will. It all needs to be taken care of together.
Well, what's the best way? How can I be the best neighbor down in this area on the shore?
Best neighbor. Well, I'll just reiterate. I think it's really going above what you would normally do, even in your own home area, with regards to taking care of, taking care of your property, taking care of the beach, taking care of the promenades, the boardwalks, and all of those. It's really, it's taking care of that stuff and really respecting it so that it is something that is long lasting for generations to come. This is where people come to build their memories. Those of us that live here year round, we're here year round, so we don't want to spend our off seasons just caring for the property and taking care of it for others to come down and not care for it. So I think there is, in the overall community, the communal factor, I think it's really taking care of everything, looking out for each other, making sure that we're watching out for other people's properties. There's times that I'll be driving down, and if I see a home that there's a gutter hanging off of it or something because we just had some high winds, or there's something, there's some type of damage going on or whatnot, or you see a property you go by once or twice during the course of a week and you notice that the upper deck door is open, but there's been no cars around or anything like that. There's been times that I've called the homeowner and I look up their information. I'll contact them and I'll say, hey, you have a gutter that's ripped off the side of your house, or some of your siding is ripped off, and you're just letting them know. And then we help them find a contractor that can help them out because they're not here. And I think so when you're really trying to be a good neighbor, you're looking out for others because they may not be here as often as you are. So it's, hey, I'm here. Can you want us to take in your deck furniture if there's some high winds coming? Anything like that, I think is always important because it just prevents damage in that regards to other people's properties, to public property. And I think at the same time, it's really about memories. That's what this is all about. That's what the shore to me is about. You're building memories for you and your family. And I mean, if you're just not nice, what kind of memories are you building for yourself, right? So I mean, it's just, gosh, I mean, you're at the shore, you have the ocean, and if you can't smile every day being around that, good luck to you.
And then do you have a story of maybe somebody being a good neighbor to you that you remember and you're like, oh, this person really came in clutch for me?
Yeah, actually, so I do, and it was way back. Actually, we had unfortunately, it was more on a negative note, but we had a storm, and we had some damage at our office. Actually, it was over Sandy, Hurricane Sandy. So we had some damage at our office and what have you. And when I had finally gotten back to the office, one of the neighbors that came over asked how they could help and kind of describing what they had saw with everything when they came back with damage, and just making sure that we were okay with our location. Anything that they could do to help us to get back up and running as quick as possible. So that was great just to have, here we are a business, and they were kind of really looking out for us as well to make sure that we were okay and that we could get up and running. And with that, we kind of in turn started to obviously help other people at the same time, start seeking people out and see who we can help. So, well, that was my best attempt at trying to figure out some of these unwritten rules for these guys that they're in town. And you're always more than welcome to send us your favorite unwritten rule, and we'll make sure maybe we can incorporate that into one of our videos. We'll create a nice, accurate list for these guys. But ultimately, if you're looking for a house, or if you're thinking of selling your house, you can certainly reach out to us then as well.